Okay, so here we go. NSCA, Chapter 11, presentation number 6. We're talking about fitness evaluation or fitness assessments, and we're now into flexibility. We start on page 233. There's only 2 of them noted here, so this will be pretty quick when we jump out. So on 233, when we talk about flexibility, the point I want to get across is you have a sit and reach, and then you have a back scratch test. As I noted in the previous presentation, something as simple as this, doing the double straight leg raise test. I have to be strong enough on one side of my body to lift my legs up, but I also have to be flexible enough on the other side of my body to allow the legs to be lifted up. So, a lot of these tests, you look at it and you go, okay, we're going after now flexibility in this presentation, but you got to realize in some of these other tests, whether it's dynamic or static, there is a flexibility component. It just is. With the sit and reach test, you have a yardstick or sit and reach box. You use some tape on the floor, perhaps a measuring tape. We have in our lab, our classroom, we have boxes, and we also have done tape on the floor just in front of it. So you can see here how this is set up with tape on the floor. You can also see the boxes side by side. And they talk about the procedures. And I can tell you when you talk about either one of these tests, whether it's sit and reach or the back scratch test, these are very specialized tests for specific areas of the body. And, the body is a wonderful machine that has so many interconnected parts and moving parts, especially. And for one side to be effective in movement, the other side has to be effective in allowing that movement to happen. For my bicep to contract and give me elbow flexion, my tricep has to be slack enough, relaxed enough to allow that to happen. That process is called reciprocal inhibition. As I contract one side, the other side has to relax. Long story short, these are 2 tests that are in the book, and these 2 tests or assessments are good, but I want you to understand that there's a specificity to testing that also flows into flexibility. Now, one of the takeaways here that they note, procedure for the sit and reach test, note that the norms for the YMCA sit and reach use a 0 point. The 0 point is a point at which the client reaches the toes of 15 inches. So in this situation where the client is able to reach the toes, that would be 15 inches. And then anything beyond that would be 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, however far the person reaches out. The sit and reach on the box has a little bit different protocol and a little bit different norms associated with it, as we saw in our previous class in 231. With the back scratch test, you're measuring the distance between the fingertips. If there's overlap, you measure that amount of overlap. And so theoretically and realistically, what you have is when the fingertips touch, that's 0, 0. When they're apart, then it's 3 centimeters, 5 centimeters, whatever it is. If they overlap, it's then, -3, -5 centimeters. When they overlap, it's a plus. So, you're looking at this on a chart, you're comparing the scores found here in 1135. And I'll tell you that a person who has a shoulder injury or perhaps has a high degree of flexibility, maybe they're a gymnast, will score very high on these tests. But it doesn't necessarily mean that they have increased levels of fitness per se, because they might be lacking elsewhere. So what I'm getting at is you need to really look at these assessments and kind of evaluate what benefits they bring to the equation, how they allow you to evaluate a client, and then more importantly, what data points do they provide you to be able to help your client. Many times you can see if a client is tight. You can see if a client is non-mobile. You can see if a client has limited range of motion on one side versus the other, and you don't have to have them do a back scratch test. You can just have them move. But long story short, you have to start somewhere, and some of these tests are good, and some of these tests help you to kind of formulate a much clearer picture of what it means to be like efficient in movement and have clients who can actually move day to day in their activities of daily living. All right, so let's go back to 197. We just did flexibility. I'm going to jump into postural alignment and movement, and that'll be the last presentation. Hold on.